Hello, CAA football fans. Bobby Broyles and Tim McDonald back at it here with another episode of This Week in CAA Football.
Great to be here, Bobby. Lots to talk about today with 2 weeks remaining in the regular season.
Yes, sir. We're heading down the home stretch here, and one of the few things that's clear at this point is that Maine's magic number is 1. So if the Black Bears win one of their final 2 games, they'll be our 2013 CAA football champions. But before we get too far ahead of ourselves, Tim, let's take a look back at some of last week's critical matchups. Let's begin at the Dungeon as New Hampshire picked up a huge win on national TV by knocking off nationally ranked James Madison. Is UNH back in the playoff picture, Tim?
I'd say right now, Bobby, they are. You know, they're sitting right now 5-4 with 2 games left. They are right now, but they cannot look ahead. They're facing a Albany team this week. They got the job done versus JMU, but they have 2 games left. You look at the national playoff scene, 24 teams, as we've mentioned before, but so many teams right now are quality across the board with only 3 losses. Plus, UNH has only played 11 games scheduled this year compared to other teams who played 12. Look at that JMU game, the return of R.J. Harris. UNH really opened up the passing game. Andy Vallis threw for 397 yards. That's his career high, and it's the second most in the CAA this year. And UNH really hurt that JMU secondary. That was a huge win for UNH. JMU, a bad loss, but they're still not out of it. I think JMU's defensive struggles continued this past week, especially in the secondary. UNH had over 500 yards, 6.5 yards per play, Bobby. That's too much, and JMU is going to have to go back to the drawing board.
And it didn't seem like Mickey Matthews' offense was in sync either, talking about after the game how he felt that both his offensive line and defensive line were beaten in the trenches this past Saturday. In our other TV game, Delaware played host to William & Mary on Comcast Sportsnet. Tim, we were in Newark this weekend, and you could certainly say this William & Mary defense is everything that it's been cracked up to be. The numbers these guys are putting up are off the charts right now.
And, you know, it started in Newark with a bang. You know, Travis Hawkins for Delaware returns the opening kick, 97 yards. Drive D says, guys, don't worry about it. We'll take it from here. Drive D allows 207 yards of total offense, under 100 at the half, and overall minus 35 yards rushing for Delaware. That's the worst total for Delaware in program history, the 4th lowest for William & Mary in program history. I don't know if anyone can move the ball on this team right now, and the offense is only averaging over 20, just over 20 points per game. Still, with that defense, they're getting it done. Offensively, Abdul Sabar, Cooper, and Anderson, they're getting the ball down, and it really can be any running back. It's not like they have a premier back, which is good for this team. They're really saying, guys, go do what you want. You really look at that rushing total for William & Mary, just holding Delaware, that's just absurd, minus 35 yards. And Delaware, it's a tough loss. Trevor Sasek didn't play as well as Delaware had planned. They just couldn't get back in the game late. William & Mary moving forward, a huge game this week, but they get the job done on the road at Delaware. Right now, William & Mary looks dangerous heading into this Towson game. Better position playoff-wise than Delaware heading into this week.
Well, as we turn our attention to Week 12, the game of the week has to be in Williamsburg, where the defense will get, where the Tribe defense will get one of its biggest tests of the season when they welcome in Towson at 1:30. And let's remember that West and his well-rested Tigers are coming off their open week, Tim.
And I don't know if you watch Comcast, Bobby, but if you've seen the games and you see this William & Mary defense, Luke Rhodes, Jerome Copeland, Mike Riley. Look at how they fly to the ball, Bobby. You're down there. I'm seeing Riley's biceps. I need to get to the gym. They're just getting to the ball. They hit people. And then you look at that Towson O-line. They're going to come out firing. They lost to Delaware in heartbreaking fashion at home. Healthy Terrence West, you know, that Towson team, Rob Ambrose talked about it all week. They want to prove themselves. You know, they got down on themselves after that Delaware loss. How do they respond? He wants to show the character of this team, and that's what's going to happen. On paper, this should be an amazing matchup between Tribe defense and Towson offense. Look at the numbers. Terrence West, already over 1,000 yards. Towson ranks top of the CAA football in most offensive categories. Total offense, scoring. But the key, I think, is going to be the Towson defense. 7th in the CAA in passing, okay? Brent Caprio, the quarterback for William & Mary, he's made a lot of key plays over the last couple of weeks on play action. That's going to be the key. And for Towson, Peter Athens, the quarterback, he's tied for 2nd with the most interceptions in CAA with 10. Still, if he has a big game, this Towson team is going to roll. He has to play well in order for them to have any chance this week. You have to love the battle on the trenches if you're an offensive line or defensive line guy this week.
Should be exciting. CAA football crew will also be there this weekend, so a lot going on in Williamsburg.
I think 2 of the last 3 games that the CAA has been there, it's come down to the last play, so it could be a good one again.
There you go. Kicking off Saturday's action at noon will be a Delaware squad looking to bounce back when it plays host to Richmond in the regular season home finale. the Spiders come to a town riding a 2-game winning streak, Tim.
The Spiders looking like the team that we thought they would in the beginning of the season. And you look at Delaware, an absolutely brutal stretch of games coming up. Arguably the toughest remaining in the CAA. They have to play Richmond, and then they have to play Villanova in a rivalry game. Cannot look ahead right now. They need to focus. And Coach Brock talked about that after the game. He said, we just need to get back to playing one step at a time. The season's not over in any sense for them. Now, offensively, Delaware, we know Trevor Sasek has been the guy the last 2 weeks. Trent Hurley, where's he been? We know he got injured, Bobby. No one really knows the extent to that injury. We saw him on the sideline suited up last week. Delaware needs to get something going. And if they can't get it through the passing game, they need to get Andrew Pierce, their senior running back, Rob Jones, Michael Johnson. They've had success with them running the ball early in the season. We didn't see it last week. Richmond's ruined the story, but what else can you say? That air attack, no one, it sounds corny. No one wants to face that. Michael Strauss threw for 5 touchdowns, the first quarterback ever now. He has over 3,000 on the season. That's the first Richmond player ever to do that. And right now, Strauss and this Richmond team is saying, you know what, we might have 6 losses, but we're going to be the best 6-loss team in the FCS right now.
Yep, quarterback Michael Strauss named CAA Offensive Player of the Week this past week after his performance versus Stony Brook. At 12:30, Maine looks to lock up the CAA football title when it welcomes Rhode Island to Alphon Stadium.
Papa Ganoush, I cannot remember the last time a team in the CAA had a chance to win the conference with 2 weeks remaining. And Maine has said, I don't care. That's what we're gonna have a chance to do that. They're going to face a Rhode team who struggled last week for Nova. We look at Maine's win versus Albany. We knew it was going to be tough, Bobby. I'm not going to try to take some credit here, but I did say it was going to be close.
You did.
Maine escapes. It's a common theme for this squad the last 3 games. Okay. What do we know, though? Good teams find ways to win.
Yep.
And Maine has proven that this year, especially now that they've had a target on their back. It's not like they can surprise teams like they did earlier in the season. Christoph Malumba, the CAA Rookie of the Week, again. It's getting annoying, keep calling his name. 19 tackles, and according to Cosgrove, he's just one of the better players for them against the run. I think for Maine, it's can they keep their eye on the prize? Chance for the CAA title outright. Rhode's coming off a senior day loss, which the offense didn't have 100 yards. That's tough. That's very tough mentally, especially. Rhode, though, if they get this win, it could save their season. It could ruin, for the CAA, it could ruin Maine's season. Rhode has to go in this game with no holds barred, just doing everything they can. Maine, again, though, you worry about Maine with these close games, but it's also very impressive the way they're just been able to get it done.
And for Rhode Island, this is actually their last game of the season.
That's true.
So
they wrap it up.
We'll see the Rhode Rams play this year. Kicking off at 3:30, New Hampshire looks to keep its playoff hopes alive, but faces a tricky foe in Albany at Bob Ford Field. Tim, it's hard to believe that after more than 4 decades, this will be Bob Ford's final home game as head coach of the Great Danes.
It was Bob Ford bobblehead week last week, in the loss versus Maine. What a better way, though, to send out Bob Ford with a win. If you're Albany, the seniors on this team, the upperclassmen, you have a great opportunity versus New Hampshire at home. Now, New Hampshire's coming off the win, like we said, versus JMU. Coming into this game, they're 2 New England programs that are really similar in a lot of ways. They run the same type of programs. Offensively, that's going to be the question for UNH. Vallis and Goldrich, we know they're good quarterbacks. They've proven it. We know they're banged up, too. Vallis did not look like 100% last week. They threw a lot. They had over 500 yards, and most of that came through the air, Bobby. And Harris, that's going to be the key for UNH. 3 touchdowns, 137 yards receiving. He had missed the last 3+ games, Bobby. They're a completely different offense with him. And with him in that offense, it opens up other things. Harold Spears, the tight end. Justin Mello, the other wide receiver. Guys get so keyed in on Harris, I think that's going to be the key. And the UNHD, that's going to be the key. Omar Osborne, the running back for Albany. Every time he's rushed for over 100 yards this year, Central Connecticut State, Colgate, Maine, and Delaware, they've been in close games. That's going to be the key. If he gets to 100 yards, this UNHD could be in trouble because that's going to be the key. Despite he has over 100 yards last week, Omar Osborne. I think this is a trap game, and it's getting corny to say it versus Albany. It's a trap game, but it is. UNH, maybe looking ahead. It was just announced that Comcast game versus Maine was going to be on TV. Don't get looking ahead if you're UNH. Albany's a good team, and I think they could steal one here if they play a complete game.
Set to air on 6 Comcast Sportsnet regional networks, we've got another key matchup at 3:30 when the Dukes of JMU return home to the friendly confines of Bridgeforth Stadium to take on Stony Brook. Duke's still unbeaten at home this year, Tim.
Bob, let me make sure. JMU has 6 wins this year, right?
Yep.
Wherever they all come.
In Bridgeforth.
Why should it change this week? They play so well. I don't know. Maybe it's the excess streamers flying through the stands when JMU scores. I don't know what it is. It's senior day, okay? Stephon Robertson, Daquan Scott. How do you want to go out? Last week versus UNH, they didn't play poor, but they didn't play great. This team, like JMU last year, we saw them a little bit fall apart at the end of the season. I think they can respond this week. They're playing Stony Brook. Stony Brook offense got on track last week versus Richmond. They were in that game. They held the lead, Bobby. But once again, we saw Stony Brook not be able to play a complete game and really, just have that struggle with finding both sides of the ball, both rhythm. I think for JMU, the key is, you're playing at home. Yes, it stinks to say we haven't won on the road. You're playing at home, though. If you can get this win, Bobby, it does wonders for the rest of the game. You've played 12 games on this schedule this year.
Yep.
You have Towson remaining. If you can win this game and then focus on that Towson game, the season's not over. You can still make the playoffs.
Our out-of-market viewers can catch a live simulcast of the Dukes and Seawolves on CAA.tv. Remember, you can follow all of this weekend's games on our game day page on CAAfootball.com, which features links to live stats and audio and video streaming for all 5 games. And don't forget to check in with us on Sunday when we bring you our weekly rundown.
And Bobby, you can follow the league on social media. We're all about that. You can catch us on Twitter at CAA Football. Use the official hashtag CAAFB. Join the conversation. And find us on Facebook at facebook.com/CAA Football. And definitely hit us up or feel free to shoot us a message or comment if you have any questions. We're also on Vine and Instagram by just searching CAA Football.
The CAA football crew returns to the road this Saturday. Zach Burris and Alex Souza will head right down 64 east to Williamsburg for the big game between the Tribe and the Tigers. Stay tuned to our Everyday Saturday blog for highlights, interviews, and our Going Deep feature on William & Mary that will bring you on Tuesday morning. That'll do it for us today. Tim, almost to the home stretch. It should be another exciting weekend.
2 weeks left, Bobby. I can't wait.
For Tim McDonald, I'm Bobby Broyles. Enjoy the game Saturday, and we'll see you right here next Wednesday on CA.TV.